swimming in the ocean when suddenly you feel something latch onto your skin. Not a bite, not a sting, it's worse. You look down, and there it is. A nightmarish, jawless face with a round, sucker mouth lined with dozens of hooked teeth, drilling into your flesh and slurping your blood like a biological power drill. Congratulations, you've just met the Lamprey Nature's underwater vampire. But that's not even the weirdest creature in this story, because deeper in the darkness lurks something even more disturbing, the hagfish. A blind, boneless, jawless thing that can turn a bucket of water into slime in seconds. So slimy, it can choke predators just by being touched. And when it's not suffocating sharks, it's slithering into rotting corpses and eating them from the inside out. These two aren't monsters from fiction, they're real, and they've been here for over 500 million years. They've outlived dinosaurs, survived mass extinctions, and thrived in the weirdest ways evolution could allow. One sucks blood, the other weaponizes mucus. And both are so bizarre, scientists still struggle to explain how they work. So how did evolution make them this weird? And why are they still alive today? Let's find out if you're not too squeamish. The lamprey doesn't look like much at first, just a slimy, eel-shaped fish, right? But then it opens its mouth. Instead of jaws, it's got a suction cup nightmare lined with rows of razor-sharp keratin teeth spiraling inward like a saw blade. In the center, a tongue that acts more like a drill. This mouth doesn't chew, it attaches. And once it's latched on, it starts grinding through flesh until it hits blood. Lampreys don't kill their prey right away. They cling to fish, whales, even sharks, sometimes for days, slowly siphoning off blood and bodily fluids. It's like having a permanent open wound that won't stop leaking. And the worst part? Most hosts survive, but they're left with gaping, infected craters where skin used to be. They're not technically parasites, they don't live inside a host, but they're close. And unlike modern predators, lampreys have no bones and no jaws. That's because they never evolved them in the first place. They're part of a group called agnathans, literally meaning jawless ones, a primitive branch of the vertebrate family tree. Fossils show that lampreys barely changed in over 360 million years. That's before the first dinosaurs, before insects took flight, before trees. And they're still here, still feeding, still winning. They spawn in fresh water, like salmon, and their larvae bury into mud for up to 7 years before transforming into full-blown bloodsuckers. Some never even reach that stage and just die in the mud. Others become full-on predators of the sea. But despite their ancient design, lampreys are surprisingly effective. So effective that when they invaded the Great Lakes in North America, they devastated local fish populations, slicing open trout, salmon, anything they could get their teeth on. They're primitive. But don't confuse that with weak. If the lamprey is nature's vampire, then the hagfish is its escape artist. And its weapon of choice? Slime. Ridiculous, unstoppable, pure nightmare fuel slime. Hagfish might look like soggy pink noodles, but don't be fooled, they're one of the most disgusting and brilliantly engineered creatures in the ocean. When attacked, they instantly release massive amounts of mucus that expands on contact with water. We're not talking a little goo, we're talking enough slime to clog a predator's gills and literally suffocate them mid-bite. Imagine biting into your food and then instantly choking on a bucket of glue. That's what eating a hagfish is like. And just to flex even harder, hagfish can tie themselves into literal knots to scrape off their own slime, wriggle backwards out of danger, or gain leverage while feeding. Yes, they knot themselves like a human pretzel on purpose. But what they do when they're not sliming is just as creepy. Hagfish are scavengers. They locate dead or dying animals on the seafloor, find a natural opening like the mouth or gills, and crawl inside. From there, they start eating the body from the inside out, and because they lack jaws, they tear off flesh using keratin spikes on their tongue. Like the lamprey, they also have no bones and no proper eyes, just light-sensitive spots. And they haven't changed in over 300 million years. They're more closely related to us than they are to actual fish. In fact, their slime proteins are so unique, scientists are researching them to make future body armor and even surgical threads. The hagfish isn't just the grossest animal in the sea. It's also one of the oldest, most successful survivors in evolutionary history. It doesn't fight back. It just makes you regret fighting it in the first place. The weirdest thing about lampreys and hagfish isn't their slime or their teeth, it's that they're still here. These two creatures are survivors from a time so ancient, the continents weren't even in their current shapes. They both belong to a rare group of animals called jawless vertebrates. That means they were part of the very first wave of creatures to ever evolve a backbone but stopped evolving jaws altogether. And somehow, that decision didn't kill them off. At a glance, you'd think jawless animals would be at a huge disadvantage. No jaws means no biting, no chewing, no real fighting. But that's exactly what makes their survival so bizarre. Instead of going extinct like the rest of their kind, lampreys and hagfish adapted in weird directions. The lamprey became a parasite, hacking evolution's no-jaw rule by turning its whole mouth into a weaponized suction disc. The hagfish went the opposite way, becoming a deep-sea scavenger that turned slime into its best defense. One drills into live fish, the other dissolves dead ones. And even though they look primitive, they're both part of our evolutionary story. They're the closest living relatives to the very first vertebrates, our own distant ancestors. In fact, the nerve cord, segmented muscles, and early skulls found in lampreys helped scientists piece together how vertebrates even came to be. But here's what's wild. Genetically, hagfish and lampreys are so unique that scientists once thought they didn't belong on the same evolutionary tree as anything else. It's only recently that we've confirmed, yes, these things are still technically fish, just built on a blueprint from the dawn of time. They're like evolutionary glitches that never got patched. They shouldn't still work, but somehow they do. Surviving for over 300 million years without jaws, bones, or proper eyes sounds like a recipe for extinction. But for lampreys and hagfish, it's been a winning strategy. So what makes these jawless freaks so durable? First, their environments. Hagfish live deep in the ocean, where everything moves slower, fewer predators, fewer changes, and fewer competitors. That stability means they haven't needed to change much. Why fix what still works? Second, their defense. Hagfish slime is more than gross, it's genius. The slime is made of protein threads that expand instantly in water, turning into a suffocating mesh. Sharks, eels, even humans struggle to touch one without getting slimed. And no predator wants a meal that chokes you while you chew. Lampreys, on the other hand, don't need slime. Their durability comes from their stealth and simplicity. They can survive extreme environments, latch onto prey without killing it, and reproduce in huge numbers. Some species don't even eat as adults, they just live long enough to spawn and die. Add in low metabolic needs, flexible bodies, and minimal energy costs, and you've got two species that are literally optimized for survival. They didn't win evolution by becoming better. They won by refusing to play the same game. So, should you be afraid of these ancient monsters? Let's start with the lamprey. While they're terrifying up close, they're not exactly hunting humans, but they can become a problem. In the Great Lakes, sea lampreys invaded through man-made canals and decimated fish populations. Without natural predators, they went full vampire mode, drilling into trout, salmon, even lake sturgeon. Entire ecosystems were flipped upside down, and millions were spent trying to control them. Hagfish, meanwhile, won't ever attack you. They don't bite, they don't chase, but if you mess with one, say, grab it or try to eat it, you'll quickly find yourself face to face with a living slime grenade. They're gross, but not dangerous, unless you're wearing expensive clothes. But here's why they matter. Both animals are evolutionary goldmines. Lampreys help scientists understand how vertebrates evolved spinal cords, skulls, and nervous systems. Hagfish are being studied for their slime, which could lead to new materials for bulletproof vests, firefighting foam, and even biodegradable plastics. They may look like leftovers from a prehistoric horror movie, but they're also keys to the future. So no, they're not dangerous to us, but underestimating them would be a mistake. Lampreys and hagfish are proof that evolution doesn't always favor beauty or even logic. Sometimes, the weirdest strategies are the ones that last the longest. They've survived mass extinctions, outlived dinosaurs, and still haunt the depths with mouths full of teeth or bags full of slime. But if life on Earth changes again, could these ancient freaks still adapt? Or will evolution finally write them out? And if the next dominant life form evolves from today's overlooked creatures, maybe the future holds even stranger monsters. Until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, and avoid hugging anything that oozes slime.